We are living in a time period where birth rate and fertility rate are on the decline globally. There is a new social media wave of child-free by choice, and governments looking at population pyramids to find solutions for their aging population and maintaining their country's growth and economic viability. Yet, with the increase with cost of living, medical expenses, education, and the general cost of caring for children from birth to adolescent, ranging from $233,610 according to Institute for Family Studies and $297,674 according to the Lending Tree, individuals are questioning if having children in Jamaica is an injustice to those children. Pull up a chair and let's have the conversation.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Pick up yourself, whether you're there yard or you're there abroad. Welcome back to this another episode of Life with the Jam Fam. So on today's episode, we're going to be looking at whether or not in this time and age, having children in Jamaica, is it an injustice to those children? Every so often, new trends hit the media airwaves and spread like wildfire. For example, many people who are rocking their natural textured hair and living it up and enjoying it before a natural hair wave blew over social media, and now those videos are forever sharing one care routine or another, and a different one day by day. So another such trend was Kingdom principle men and women were practicing purity before marriage, and then suddenly a wind of celibacy blew over the media waves, and people suddenly seemed to want a trophy for performing kingdom principle. One that is making ripples across the media off the back of education for our girls and protecting the environment is child-free by choice. This comes at a point when many are considering the cost of raising a child and the emotional and physical demands on parents, especially with soaring cost of living. We are having this conversation because it aligns to a video that we produced recently that explored Jamaica's aging and declining population. Of course, two of the major factors affecting population are mortality and birth rate. One comment suggested that having children in Jamaica currently would be an injustice to the children. It mentioned domestic violence, social decay, and poverty as to some of the reasons why pursuing family was not something worth considering. Does these reasons validate having children in the Jamaican society, or validate not having children in the Jamaican society? If the degeneration of social values is a reason to stop having children, humanity would have been extinct millennia ago. Social decay is a sliding scale. Every generation experience further decay in value than the generation before them. With regards to the domestic abuse, an environment of abuse is not conducive for healthy development for anyone involved, and especially children. It gives them very false ideas about boundaries, how to treat others, how to deal with conflict, the way they deal with their anger, their self-esteem, their entitlement, and many traumas and unhealthy coping mechanisms that affects them in future relationships and conflict resolution. Generational aspiration should be at the forefront of our minds when having children. Are their lives going to be better than ours? And can we provide them with more than the basic necessities according to the Maslow hierarchy of needs? Children are a blessing from the Lord. Yes, I agree. And planning our family is a duty that goes beyond birth control. It's about the infrastructures that we are creating for those children. It's also about the means to be able to provide them with the emotional well-being and the stability that they need. It's about the lifestyle and the future that we are able to carve out for those children, and the inheritance that we are planning to set them up with at a set period in their life or leave them with. Single parent household, paternity fraud, and poverty are factors that has severe impact on the life outcomes of children and things that people should consider so that they themselves can be more conscious of their choices that they are making. The next idea to take into account is having children as a pension plan. When children don't have a good start to get them up the ladder in life, it impacts on their productivity for the future. And although there are people who are going to be resilient enough to work out of that and make a good life for themselves, not everyone have that sort of grit, determination, and resilience to be able to do so. Productivity was one of the things that was mentioned in the comments. However, the production that we did was highlighting the population downturn on the island and the number of Jamaicans in the diaspora who could be returning to Jamaica where they can live, work, do business, and permanently enjoy the alluring Caribbean lifestyle. It wasn't something that was suggesting that people should increase the birth or fertility rate on the island. The decision to have children has to be a personal decision that is taken because people have to take stock of what it is that they have and their means to be able to raise children, to get them to be productive and expose them to opportunities that would advance them and give them a better future. Because we have been told repeatedly that a good man leaves a legacy for not just his children but his children's children. Therefore, when taking the decision to have children, people need to factor a myriad of things, and it is up to those parents to plan their family and decide when, how, where, and why they want to have children. Parents teaching their children about global affairs and moral ideas help to build their tenacity, and it helps them to be streetwise and intellectual to make sound decisions for their future and the future of their generation and their offsprings that will be coming after them. Regardless of how we feel about who's having children, how many children they have, and their ability to either parent those children well or provide for those children's need beyond shelter, food, and clothing is not up to us to decide, but up to those individuals to decide the quality of life that they are affording their children. We, of course, can make the decision about ourselves and about our life as to how many children we want to have, how many children we believe we can afford to have, and ensuring that we are having godly seed that will actually contribute well to the life that they're going to be living and to society in general. It's not just about having the children and providing basic things. It also is about teaching them fundamental principles and values, precepts and concepts that they need to live by and govern their lives with so that they can become productive, well-rounded citizens wherever they live. What is your take about having children in Jamaica? Is it something that you think should be encouraged to increase the fertility rate, or do you think it's something that should be discouraged? Or are you of the opinion that having children is the decision of the individuals who are involved? Or do you believe that people should take more caution in doing so? Please let us know your view in the comment below. We look forward to reading them. Eliona, somebody commented on the channel the other day. I did a video and they were commenting about not having children in Jamaica and referring to it being sort of like an injustice to the children. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel that the government and society should be in a position to decide on people's ability to have children?
No.
Why not?
Because it's not their life.
Okay. So that's why you think they shouldn't? So people should have the freedom to choose to do what they want to do in terms of children and stuff? Okay. So I really want to ask you one other question then, just a follow-up question from that. So since you feel like they should have the right to do what they want to do, is there a duty or a responsibility on parents to ensure that they are in the best state before becoming parents? So when I say best state, I mean frame of mind in terms of the duty and the responsibility, as well as means, because children need stuff.
Not just your mental well-being, but you have to have a stable financial well-being to be able to parent, because although you need to have the mental capacity to take that role, you have to have the financial ability to provide for them.
Okay, so a while back, China did a one-child policy. Do you think that that's something that countries should impose?
No, but I believe they just did that to lessen the population rise as China was starting to get very popular.
In Jamaica, the population is declining, and it's becoming an aged population. So we have a lot more people who will be above retirement than we have young people coming up and going into the workforce because the birth rate is actually on a decline. Do you think that the government should put incentives in place to ensure that people have more children?
Like to force them to have more children?
Not force, but to put in like supports. So maybe things like child benefits or nursery packages or things like early child investment fund, so that when so that goes towards children education for the future or different things like that, just as an incentive for people. So things like in the early stages to help them with buying some of the things that they will need. Do you think that that's something that would encourage, you think, people to have children, and do you think that's the government's responsibility?
Yes, but that privilege could also be exploited.
Okay, how?
In a way of financial hunger.
What does that mean?
Like, although you're helping to encourage people to fulfill one of God's purposes, to have children, some people might take that as an opportunity to be getting free money.
Okay, I follow. I see. So you think that it would need to be something that is monitored and measured? Am I believing what you're suggesting?
Then again, I don't believe that should be the government's job, but more as like an option for those who are actually in need, and not just as a general package.
Okay, so it should be means tested. Okay.
Like if you can already provide for your children, just giving you free money here, just adding on to that. But then there's other families that are actually in need that could benefit from it.
Okay. And do you think that that will encourage families who are in need, who can get that money? Do you think that that would encourage them to just simply have more children because they can get the money?
Again, financial hunger.
Okay, so you think it's, again, that would need to be measured in terms of how many children they give it for. Okay.
So for like, instead of physically giving them, just giving them a check or some money, maybe instead you could physically buy like some tin products or some packaged products and give them, or some clothes, some shoes. Maybe pay for bills. Okay. And things like that.
Okay, I see. Okay then. Thank you. I know that this is a serious topic to debate. However, you are an adolescent, so I thought I'd hear what your viewpoint is on the matter. So thank you. And I'm going to leave your room now so that you can get back to whatever it was that you were doing later. I've gotten up and gotten Eliona off to school and about to get my morning started. I've already done my worship and now it's time for me to kickstart my day and go and get myself ready for the day that I have up ahead. I've been home for a couple days and haven't gone out to the city center because I've got so many things that I'm sorting out and getting done and getting ready for the end of the school year. And so I'm looking forward to being able to head out to town one day this week so I can actually be able to just go out and see the sights and do some of the things that I have planned and haven't gotten out there to do because I was busy sorting out some other things. But just wanted to show you my morning drink that I'm going to be having. So this is it. This is the herb. That's the blend that I do. So I just pour a glass of it, and then I just drink that in the morning, and it just helps to kickstart the body's function and get everything in tip-top shape. So cheers. It's nice and cool because it was in the refrigerator, and so the coolness of it helps to take away some of the bitterness of it as I drink it. But it's worth the drink because it's going to flush that body right out and give it some needed and necessary vitamins and minerals that the body needs to do its thing. There is a lot of things on my list to do for this week, and it's the end of the week now, last day of the week, Friday, and so I'm going to go and have a look at getting as much things done as I can. I'm going to just finish my drink and go get some laundry going, and then go tackle my to-do list, see where I'm at and what needs to be done for the rest of the day, so I can get everything all sorted and resolved. I look forward to weekends, especially the Sabbath, because, you know, it's such a precious gift to us to do one thing and one thing only. Well, maybe two things. So to rest and to give Yah worship, but we do that every day. But the Sabbath is a special opportunity of rest. And it's so great to have it because you have no choice but to rest. And it's a gift. I know a lot of people see it as legalistic and a burden and a struggle, but it is such a gift, an opportunity to tear away from the busyness of your everyday throughout the week. Whatever situation people are in, that to just get away from that busyness and to just go and rest and relax and enjoy your living. You can see the morning is so calm outside, and even the leaves aren't stirring as much yet. It's such a peaceful morning, and knowing that we have the Sabbath coming up is even more rewarding right now, looking at this, because it's just that opportunity to get away and relax. As you go into this weekend, we just want to wish you the very best of rest, and that it will be well with you and with your family as you enjoy an opportunity to just treat yourself to a little bit of rest, whether it's a little bit extra lying or just a little bit of lounging, a little bit of reflecting. Whatever it is, we need to treat ourselves with that little bit of rest, just so that we can recalibrate. You know, if you think about it, the creator of our universe knew that we needed rest. And so he provided an opportunity for us to do that. So we should reward ourselves with it. And I hope that you have the means and the opportunity to do so. Just a few minutes to just detach, disconnect from the matrix, from the networks that keeps churning around us. Just whether it's an opportunity to just isolate, just give yourself that gift so that you can recalibrate and get back into the game better, stronger, more determined, more focused, with better clarity, so that you can actually hit those visions that you are aiming to achieve.
The Jam Fam family. Where Irie living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, yeah. Jam Fam. The Jam Fam family. Where I living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. Jam Fam, come hang with me. The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Them. Thank you for staying with us here on this another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Bye for now and take care.